brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because everything gets its start somewhere, and the blog is our prequel. Hey, the joke is back, and you get a little history too. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, How to Get Away with Murder, Sherlock, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., New Girl, A Series of Unfortunate Events, The Vampire Diaries, The Originals, Orange is the New Black, The X-Files, Supernatural, and the DC Television Universe or Arrowverse on the CW. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, American Horror Story, Fuller House, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will review the first season of The Punisher. A final visit with our Broadchurch panel to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching new panels covering Sense8, Grace and Frankie, The Good Place, and iZombie. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, i.e. Friends, as well as a one and gone series called Battle Creek. Furthermore, you may have heard that CPU recently underwent some severe technical difficulties requiring the replacement of failed equipment, which means that several episodes, some I previously listed, and others, like our episode discussing Once Upon a Time Season 7A, which was nearly ready to be published at the time, will have to be re-recorded. Therefore, there will be a small delay in our usual publication schedule, but be patient with us. Everything will be published as planned. Keep a weathered eye to the website and our social media to keep track of which episodes we release next. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from the Bunker, comedy outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and at Grand Rapids Comic Con, and we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff, so make sure you like us or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback. Just don't bake us into pies and feed us to the wealthy elite of your respective metropolises. And no, I'm not talking about Sweeney Todd. Today, we're around the water cooler to discuss Season 4A, covering the arc entitled A Dark Knight of Gotham, the crime drama based on characters appearing in and published by DC Comics from the Batman franchise, primarily those of James Gordon and Bruce Wayne. The show's fourth season premiered on September 21st, 2017. Created by Bruno Heller, the series stars Ben McKenzie as the young Jim Gordon long before he became commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. As originally conceived, the series would have served as a straightforward story of Gordon's early days on the Gotham City Police Department force, but the idea evolved not only to include the Wayne character, played by David Mazouz, but also to tell the origin stories of several Batman villains, including the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, and the Joker. In the first half of the fourth season, Bruce Wayne is a masked vigilante patrolling Gotham streets at night, wearing dark clothes and a hooded black balaclava. Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, played by Robin Lord Taylor, begins a campaign to dominate the city's underworld by profiting off licensed crime. Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, played by Corey Michael Smith, finds his mental faculties diminished as a side effect of having been flash frozen. Jonathan Crane is seen embracing his role as the Scarecrow. The League of Shadows initiates their next plot to obtain an ancient embalming knife, and Butch Gilzean, played by Drew Powell, becomes Solomon Grundy after his comatose body is dumped into Slaughter Swamp. At this time, our committed group of Bat fans, namely Hilary, Kyle, Spencer, and Nick, are back to dissect in our usual devoted detail, for better or for worse, the first half of Gotham Season 4. We're also going to speculate, as we often do, upon what might happen in the second half of the fourth season. Before we do, and as always, I'm going to take a moment to double check the panel's temperature. After all, As we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. With Gotham, we just never know. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire series to date and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points. So, for those of you who are not caught up on Gotham, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you all today?
Good.
Hola.
Awesome.
Did you say blah?
No, I said hola.
Oh, hola.
Hey,
¿Cómo
yo.
estás? Hablas español?
I don't know, hola was all I knew, so.
Oh, well, good
I knew it meant hello in Spanish, alright? Give me a break.
Aloha.
He was just trying to be nice.
I know. I was humoring him. So, already off the rails.
Yeah. This thing's
Sorry.
fresh.
That happens all the time on this panel, Nick. So what we're going to do is take the panel's temperature. And guess
Sorry.
what? I have tweaked, yet again, the standard CPU character question that changes with each show we do and changes every time we talk about Gotham because, let's face it, it's Gotham. So how would you rate your interest in the show nowadays? Please listen to the slightly tweaked, actually very tweaked scale. Do you watch it for a more detailed backstory about the Caped Crusader, as you're interested in his childhood, what made him decide to fight crime as Batman, and how he decides to finally don the cape in question, bats and all, like Bruce Wayne? Do you watch it because you feel enough attention hasn't been paid to supporting characters in the mythology, and you wonder how everyone in Gotham City made the choice of the right or wrong side of the line? Or you're watching it because you're sticking with the show, for better or for worse, as you think it's fighting its way back from the darkness, just like you did, like Jim Gordon or Leslie Lee Tompkins. Do you watch it to learn the backstories of Batman's biggest foes and how they finally came into their identities, like Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, and or became worthy of Batman's attention, like Oswald Cobblepot, aka Penguin? Do you watch it because you love the backdrop that is Gotham City, even though you know it has its flaws? In fact, you accept those flaws and are more than willing to navigate them if it helps you get the job done, like Harvey Bullock or Sophia Falcone. Do you watch it because you're very protective of the legacy of the franchise, particularly the young boy who would be Batman one day? In fact, you love the boy so much you're willing to fall on your sword or be fired for this show, like Alfred Pennyworth. Do you watch it because you think it's capable of change and has adjusted to its different directions smoothly, as you did with your career change to the GCPD like Lucius Fox? Do you watch it because you decided to take more agency in your game of survival by embracing the parts of the show you do like and watching what comes next, even though there's an excellent chance you might not like what's coming, because you need to get something out of all the time you put into watching it? Plus, you like young Bruce Wayne more than you want to admit, like Selena Kyle, aka Kat. Do you watch it even though you think it's a little misguided, crazy, or even psychotic, and or because you need tips on how to run a black market business since you are woefully incompetent in that area, though the show and you might have potential for improvement if the right alliances and or adjustments are made, like Barbara Keene or Tabitha Gallivan? Do you watch it, but you have absolutely no idea what's going on? You think the show has finally fried your brain, and yet you persist, because it persists, and because what else can you do? Like Butch Gilzine, aka Cyrus Gold, aka Solomon Grundy. Do you watch it, but you don't like it anymore, and are ready to switch your loyalties to either someone who can handle writing for the Batman property properly, if not well, or to another comic book show entirely, like Victor Zsasz? Or have you stopped watching it, or have you jumped the shark because, spoiler, you died, at least on the inside probably, like Ra's al Ghul or Professor Pig? Who would like to start?
Wow, so many.
Well, I know, and they even killed some people.
The thing is, so many of them actually fit. I would subtract maybe 3 of them and...
That's the last time! This is Spencer, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, how are you?
The token Brit, as other people like to say.
I said that once.
Well, it's probably true.
It's not true.
You know, a lot of those descriptions just fit this particular show because it's still, even though I think it's now found its legs and is heading in a better direction than it was when it first came to the screen, like you alluded to in your beginning there, you know, it started as being Gordon's backstory but has morphed into something else. So a lot of those do fit. I really do enjoy this show, but there's things I have to look past sometimes. So, what were there, 12 there? I'd say I have 9 of those.
Last time, the quote was, the whole buffet except the last 3.
It's about right.
So the same.
Pretty much the same.
Okay. Well, welcome back, Spencer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please partake of the buffet.
Oh dear, I'm going to be very fat.
Nick here.
Hi, Nick.
Hi. I'm going to stick with Bullock. I think that makes the most sense for me.
Okay.
I like the backdrop of Gotham, and I know it has flaws. Yeah.
That
but not
also
so-
makes you Sophia.
You could cut that. Like you could cut that
He's more
storyline.
Sophia.
No.
Everybody gets along so well. So you're just Harvey Bullock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know more about the Caped Crusader, but they're not really getting to it.
You got to learn he's a party boy.
Yeah.
Well, plus it's not really accurate the way they're telling it anyway, so.
No, it's like a Elseworlds comic.
Yeah, it's like a weird parallel universe.
For
It's over there.
For those who don't know, there actually is a whole series of DC comics called Elseworlds, which is the universes from a different perspective. And that's kind of how this feels.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
Well, welcome back, Nick. And
Hi, Nick. So I'm Hilary. You'll hear from Kyle. He's my husband,
It's
and
true.
the moderator's my
Well, they
sister. The other two sometimes kind of feel like adopted brothers.
Fair enough.
sentimental.
Yeah, so I think when I originally, because I love Batman, I think Kyle said this before, a lot of people start off liking comic books with Batman because obviously he's a pretty big character in the world. I think I just started, of course, watching the show originally because I was like the villains and I wanted to just see what they were going to do with the villains. But obviously things have kind of gone all over the place, so the last time we got together, I was all over the place, and everyone hasn't let me hear the end of it.
Sounds like you're headed there already.
Hilarious. Please listen.
She's ramping up.
Listen to our Gotham 3B episode for that hilarity.
Yes, with that being nice little plug.
I know.
With that being said, I'm going to simplify it this time because you changed the things. Woo! So, but I still agree with Spencer that in some ways little bits of each one could kind of fit. I'm still going to kind of stick with Harvey as well. Of course, I love the backdrop of Gotham and everything, but I'm trying to rewire my thinking on the show and just accept the fact that it's never going to be accurate and just kind of appreciate some of the campiness that comes along with it, maybe a little bit. And I'm going to say I'm still Selena, too, because I like the new description that you gave for it.
I started wrote that one with you.
Thank goodness. So, yeah, I'm embracing what I can, and I'm still going to stick to watching it because it's all about the survival.
Welcome back, Hilary, my sister.
And I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
And I would say this season I am pretty much the Riddler, which
Oh.
is I watch it for the
Option.
villains.
It is an option.
The villains and their side stories and that.
Last time you
and-
were Jim Gordon and Harvey Bullock.
Yeah.
So you actually slipped a little bit in terms of you just want to learn about the villains.
Yeah, because I mean this season more than any others, I was least interested in the Bruce Wayne storyline. But I feel like a lot of the villain storylines are just so much better this season, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But I mean, it just everything with them worked so great this season.
Well, welcome back, Kyle. Hey, the Riddler's my favorite. And I'm Kylie. I mentioned that. Last time I offered some proportions because people actually asked me how much. You should listen to the episode, Nick. I said I was Harvey Bullock.
That's how that started?
Yeah, it is. People were like, how much are you? So I had said I was 50% Harvey and 10% Penguin and 20% Riddler because I like him better than Penguin and 20% Bruce Wayne. I would say that I'm still there, although I would adjust the 20% Bruce Wayne now to 20% Penguin and leave Bruce at
Somewhere
10.
there's 3/5 Victor Zaz and 1/4 pound of.
No. I don't know
Pound
what
of pig.
you're talking- Ew. There's way
That was a
too
clever
much
joke.
stuff. No, I'm going to stick with what I said the last time. I feel the same about it. I do think there were things that were better this season, and Kyle basically summarized what those were. The villain stories were much more engaging. The Bruce storyline this time was all over the place, and in a way that kind of offended me by the end of it.
Yeah.
Although maybe they're setting up Bruce Wayne as a party boy. I mean, he is a philanderer a little bit in his secret identity life, so I don't know, maybe that's where they're going. But right now I don't feel that's where it's going, and it's kind of disappointing. But as things go, this is probably one of the better half seasons of Gotham that I've watched, or at least that's what I think. But what do you think? Let's talk about it. What did you like? What didn't you like? The big arc of the season, or the half season, was A Dark Knight, with this idea that Bruce was at least attempting vigilantism for a while.
They dropped that real quick.
Yeah, they for a while was a liberal description of what happened. It was for like an instant. But there were other things going on, and Jim Gordon's trajectory had a good one too.
Well, and I will say this season, more than any others, had the most cohesive plot where like everything actually came back together at the end of it.
Agreed.
All the other ones would be like 2 episodes where you feel like they're building up to something, and then they move on to another 2-episode arc, and very random things that went nowhere. This one, at least, it feels like everything added something to it.
And was interconnected.
Yes.
I had a big problem with them killing off Ra's al Ghul.
So easily and so quick.
Is he dead, though? This is my question.
Well, I mean, there was nothing left of him, though. They had him turned to
I was
dust.
going to say, they did a pretty definitive, like, there's nothing left to put into the Lazarus.
Right. Usually, when Ra's dies, they just throw him in the Lazarus pit, he comes back. You're going to have to get him with a dustbuster. And
Well, it is
and
Gotham,
and that's based on, I think what they're going to do is that knife holds his essence, and he's going to go to a different body.
Or
he's
Barbara
Sauron.
Keane.
Because he was very wanted that knife. That knife was
that's true.
like he was really
It just-
adamant about
yeah.
that knife. But nothing was conveyed in that.
Well, there was also the moment where Barbara, because she somehow, A, brought back by the Lazarus pit, B, just aligned with him in general, I guess, because she just has this savior complex thing. But she visits him when he's in prison, because he's in prison for a while, and reaches out and holds his hand or touches his hand, and it glows for a minute. So what was that?
Oh, God.
Them trying to make her relevant.
Yeah, there's an actress with a charmed life on a show, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know what she's going to do after Gotham. Although I
Would
didn't.
you like fries with that?
Oh, I wasn't as annoyed by her this time.
No, she's gotten better than she was in the early
Yeah.
thing. I still do not see how they turn her into Mrs. Jim Gordon.
I
Ever.
really
Yeah.
think they're going.
I just think
they're
they
gonna
gave
do
up
it.
on that.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to.
Which is why that's why I don't get like why she's still around though. Like
No, I agree with that 100%. I don't
even
think she should
like
be
the
there
whole
anymore.
female gangsters. Like it'd be fine with Catwoman and Tabitha.
Well, that just makes more sense.
And
It makes more
Ivy,
sense
now that they've got
Barbara's
the
Yeah.
third incarnation of her coming along. Yeah, that's how we all feel, Nick.
Next side, in case you didn't pick that up.
And, the Bruce Wayne thing didn't actually bother me that much. I think that all through the story, we haven't really seen him grieve properly over his parents. And lashing out and using his money and partying and burying all those emotions further, to me at least, fit the character and the story better than what they were doing.
I'm totally with you on that, except for how they started the season with him. If they had just gone straight into that, I don't think I would be where I am. But because they started with this idea, because basically I think they were trying to get people to come back and watch the show.
Yeah.
So they did this whole big billowing coat thing on the rooftops, making you think he's going to go toward Batman. And it's basically like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and the 2 steps back is like 2 episodes into the season.
Yeah.
It happened
how I
too
felt.
quickly.
That's how I felt because like all of last season, his arc was him like reaching that like very defining moment of like he's laser focused on doing this and like he's passed a lot of his stuff.
And he's not going
And
to
then
kill people, because
yeah,
he actually said
and he
that.
made his one rule, and then they immediately walked it back. It would have made more sense if
He
they had done it
immediately killed
before.
someone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill anyone!
Now I
Oops.
still don't think Ra's al Ghul is really dead. Also because Alexander Siddig is cast regular this season. He's in the main credits. So I don't think he's gone permanently.
He'll come back. I mean,
He really wasn't
Well,
in that
you have to have Ra's
She
al Ghul.
wasn't.
you
Yeah.
have
you
to,
can't
but in either
get
way,
rid of
like
it.
Gotham doesn't care about we're nitpicking like that doesn't make sense. He's like dust, but they don't care about that. They'll just find some way to get him back in there. That's what
They'll
they
show
do.
Barbara Keane in there with a dustpan
Yeah,
brush.
Exactly.
I think his essence is in her glowing hand, or the knife, or both. So
I really hope it's not in the hand. That's dumb.
She'll know when the hand starts grabbing her boobs. Why is my hand doing this? Because it's a guy.
Yeah, I get it. It's
Yeah.
just that was way like woo.
It was a man brain thing, don't worry about it.
I really loved their interpretation of Professor Pig up until the plot twist in the last episode.
So I want to mention, first of all, he's played by Michael Cerveris, who's done a lot of things. Probably On this panel, you might know him as the Observer on Fringe, the
Mhm.
quiet guy. He got his start as playing the original Tommy on Broadway in The Who's Tommy. He was the little kid.
Oh, well.
He's been a character actor. He's an amazing character actor. He does a lot of stuff. He's had a really great career, and the fact that he was this guy gave me a lot of chills. I loved him.
Well, and just
Even
like
though
the
I
way they
didn't know
write
his
him in the
character
comic,
much.
like that he nailed the cadence and like how exactly how I envisioned Professor Pig, and then when you find out once again, Gotham does he's not really Professor Pig. He's copying a real Professor Pig who's out there somewhere.
I think we're going to have that same disappointment with Cameron Moynihan in the.
Yeah.
I'm a
they've
Joker,
already
but
said-
I'm not.
They said that.
I know.
Then this back half, the real Joker shows up. But it's like
how-
at this point,
how
he's
is the real-
so the Joker.
How's the real Joker going to come along and top what we've seen from Cameron Moynihan
Yeah.
at this point? I just don't see it happening.
I don't either.
Well, who said that when?
A
It's
couple
in all
of
the new
stories,
promos, too.
And in the new promos, they've constantly said he is not the Joker.
Yeah, we talked
He's
about
almost
that
all the new
before.
inspiration for.
And then all the new ads and stuff are somebody setting down the Joker card and laughing in the background, and the real Joker's coming. But he's just so good, nobody's going to top him.
He is one of the best incarnations of the Joker I've seen in any live action.
I mean, I said last time that I thought they were setting him up to not be the Joker, and everybody's like,
We hope
no,
not.
people would be very disappointed.
And
but-
people
we
are
will
very
be.
disappointed. And they will be when they bring somebody else in to be the Joker, and that person is going to have a very high bar to try and get over.
Agreed.
But what if it's Jack Nicholson?
I will stop watching the show.
I don't think it's Jack. I think he's got other things going on.
Jack was very Cesar Romero rather than,
He was really cool for his time, but
Yeah, actually there's a great column on the AV Club that's kind of exploring the history of the comic book movie, and it started with the 1978 Superman movie. And one of the articles was about the 1989 Batman movie. And just keeping it in context, I mean, that was the first real live-action Batman movie since, there's one black and white one, I don't know if that was a movie or a TV show, prior to 1966's television show with Adam West.
And there was a movie with Adam West, too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, there was.
Right,
but
yeah,
it was part
but it
of
was
that.
based on
Yeah.
the TV show, right. So, but it was directed by Tim Burton. So everything you see in Batman 1989 is a Tim Burton
Take
view
on it. Yeah.
right.
of the story, which is why you have a Jack Nicholson who is
Well, even the character named Jack Napier, who becomes the Joker in that, the first name was taken from Jack Nicholson, and Napier was one of the producers on the movie. It has nothing
And they
to do
thought it
with
would be
canon.
funny, a Jack Nape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But okay, so they're going to have a different Joker be the Joker instead of Cameron
Yeah.
Moynihan.
And I don't know
Joker,
why.
not
It doesn't.
Joker.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
like-
really make sense for them to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody thinks he's golden. It's like when you have something that everyone really loves, and lots of little things you can change that everyone doesn't like, but then you decide to change the one thing everybody absolutely loves. Doesn't make sense.
Do you think they'll do something stupid where it's still the same actor and it's just him in his costume and him with the makeup?
That's
He's
what I'm
now-
actually thinking. Like,
that
they
he's
want you to
officially
think
the
it's going to
Joker
be
now?
different, but then, I think one time Spencer said that, and maybe that was even, I think he said this a couple times, but he said, like, they just wait to see what the reactions are going to be, and then they just change things based off of that. And since everyone's all worked up about that change, it'll just turn around and no, just kidding, he really was going to be it the whole time.
We
Because
just
Cameron
didn't want you to
Moynihan's
know.
still
Yeah.
in Shameless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters
Yeah.
on Shameless.
So there's that tension as well. So I
I
guess
think it's fine to not do that many episodes with the Joker as their.
I was gonna say, it makes it like a
Before
real
Batman
treat too.
Yeah.
When he
Yeah,
does show
before
up.
he's even Batman. I mean, again, we haven't seen any bats. So,
At some point, they do have to bring Bruce back onto the path that we know he finally takes.
yeah, I'm fine with him being angsty too. I just wish there would be more of like the whole
development.
yeah,
of
the
that.
development towards that and seeing the symbol of what he's going to become while he's dealing with his grief still. Because I agree with Spencer that we haven't seen very much of that whatsoever. But it'd be nice to have a little bit of the other thing too.
I was also really pissed off when he fired Alfred.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too.
That bothered me more than anything that this
Because
show has done
Yeah.
so
just
far.
wouldn't.
Well, I don't think it's going to be permanent.
No,
obviously.
no,
No,
but
it just wouldn't happen.
He
It's
he
just
may
like
be
them throwing-
defiant,
yeah.
he may be teenage angsty, but firing Alfred is the bedrock of
who he is.
Who he is. Without Alfred, he would spiral completely.
But maybe he needs time apart from him to realize that. We don't know.
Maybe.
But I mean, they've even already done that plot line where Bruce ran away. It's like they've already done that.
Yeah.
It's true. But there are some hopeful moments. Like, for example, we got the birth of hopefully the real Scarecrow. So maybe the real Scarecrow will finally, I mean, that's been one of your predictions.
Yeah.
I thought they
Also changing actors there.
They're changing him again.
That is one thing that they
Changing
keep
him a third
doing, which is a bit bothersome as well, is this constant changing of who plays the role.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed that Scarecrow.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I
And he
liked
looked.
that
That
actor.
costume was amazing, and that actor was perfectly good as Jonathan Crane.
I was surprised because like
Yeah.
all the the Jervis and all of them that came in the season before, I didn't like most of that.
No, Jervis
So-
Tetch was awful.
He was awful, so I was finally like, yay, something's okay. And then they announced that in the news.
Yeah. So there's a new Scarecrow coming. There's another new Poison
Poison
Ivy
Ivy.
coming.
Peyton List, groan.
I
Do
just
not
wish-
like that actress.
I just wish that they would
Because you
show
were so
a
in love
tape.
with this actress that was. I'm
I
saying
mean,
all of
I
them are
wasn't.
bad.
They're all bad.
She's picking
Maybe
the
they're
lesser of
climbing.
evils.
They're
Kyle.
climbing the ladder of awfulness.
To be fair,
She's picking.
there was a chance that Maggie G. Ha could have been good. It's a blown chance now. I
just
know
don't
what
think
Peyton List is capable of, and she's not good.
It doesn't seem like they have a full construct for that character.
They don't.
So I don't necessarily blame the actresses. I blame the writers again.
I
It's
think
just
all of it's
typical
on
with
the
Gotham. The
writers.
writers
Yeah.
keep making some pretty drastic mistakes, and then with their reaction to social media, suddenly trying to fix things.
Yeah.
And that is what is probably the biggest problem with the show overall. I don't think they have, like you said in the beginning, again, they had this concept of it being Jim Gordon's backstory, which they've quickly got away from, and now it's like every week, it's like, okay, so what do we do? Because we really don't know where we're going.
Except they've come back to Jim Gordon's backstory.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the stronger aspects of this half season.
It was
was.
the most Jim Gordon, and like in one of the early episodes, they make a joke about how, oh yeah, your war against corrupt cops, except for all the times when you are the corrupt cop.
Yeah, they totally went at it. It was great.
Yeah. Well,
and
that
it
was.
actually made Harvey's character very rich as you watch his arc over the
Is it
season.
annoying that Harvey Bullock is more Jim Gordon than Jim
Yeah.
Gordon is?
I don't think that's true anymore, though.
No.
No, not
I think
anymore,
they
but for a
constructed
while
Fall
there.
from Grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they had to course correct, but
A little bit, but they did it in a convincing way.
Donnell
because he was
Logue
on
is
the
good.
tape with
Well,
Penguin.
Yeah, more convincing than it's been.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
I really
Organic
do like.
to this story.
I really do like Donnell Logue as
Harvey.
Harvey Bullock. He's just really fits that role well.
I want the character to come back and be more on Gordon's side, though.
yeah.
I think
Like
he
I don't
will.
where they've left it.
Well,
But I
I think
do
he
like-
said to him right away. He's like, do it right. They actually believe in you.
Well, that's why I like that they left it where it's finally where all the cops are behind Jim finally. I mean, because they keep going where he's on his own, he's the rogue cop, and it's nice to actually
they
see him
can't
as the
stand
leader.
him. They wish he would stop.
And he's like the beacon of hope for this
Yeah.
department. It's nice
Yeah,
to see
that
that. 'cause that's
was
what
a
he should
nice
have been from the
twist.
beginning.
Turn. They did a good job with that.
They did an excellent. I mean, considering that they were course correcting, yes. I mean, we know it came before, but I thought that was really the strongest because all of the other storylines branched off of that one, and I actually created a cyclical movement in each of the different plots, so that Jim's progress still a little bit marred by his alliance with Sophia Falcone. Let's talk
But he was
about
still
her.
he was still smarter than he's been in other seasons. He still
Much
mostly
smarter.
knew not to trust her and not to trust.
Except
Although-
for the time when he made the pact with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Kissed her. And
I was gonna say his hormones are always getting him in trouble.
Yes, they are. Oh, pretty girl.
Well, as soon as she came on screen, I was like, oh, he's gonna go make out with her. Literally said that. I mean, she's pretty, but there's things with her.
Yeah, she's the hangman in the comics, and her little neck brace was an evocation of that, I think, when she allegedly was injured. So what'd you think of Sophia? She was she was like a puppet.
I will say that she's been one of the smarter females on the show so far.
Good character, well acted.
I still don't know how I totally feel about it yet, but I still think that she's like Poison Ivy should be super intelligent, and they haven't shown a lick of that.
I liked her manipulation of her manipulation of the situations was better.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
better than what we've seen.
It's not just I'm going to send some violent people over to kneecap someone. It was actually
She
pulling
was
strings.
calculating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling strings, making things happen, lots of good in that.
Yeah, I mean, and the twist in the last episode, you realize like how actually she's not just a manipulator; she is crazy. Added, and I'm sure even if I went back and watched it, I'd probably enjoy it more a second time.
Am I remembering right that they finally killed off Carmine?
Yes.
Yes.
She
In
pretty much
fact,
she
she
arranged
did it.
for
She
the murder of her
rearranged
own
for
dad.
her own dad, yeah.
Yeah, Pig. She had a hitman take out her father, who was already dying, and then had Professor Pig shoot her to deflect
Yeah,
attention.
that's right.
Who was never Professor Pig. He was an assassin she hired to cause chaos throughout Gotham,
Named Laszlo Valentine,
who impersonates other serial killers.
apparently.
That's like
So
his
Professor
job.
Pig is out there somewhere.
So like she
He's just
found
not
him on Craigslist.
Yeah. Looking for somebody to screw with Jim Gordon. Please contact.
Bring your own mask.
Nice choice on the mask.
Well, I mean, it was true to his name.
Yeah.
But she reveals that it's all a vendetta for Mario after all. Did you buy that?
No.
No.
No,
No.
that's convenient.
Yeah, she's just insane.
I don't think she gives two stuffs about Mario.
No, I just think
I was
she,
gonna say
yeah.
I mean, I know she has all these issues with her dad because that's what everyone kept calling her out on. But I mean, she took him out without even blinking twice. So
She's
she
just-
probably
yeah.
doesn't care. He's just another person to
She's
be
a
out of the way.
sociopath. She just
Yeah.
cares about. She just wanted to rise through power herself.
Yeah, because this whole time she was trying to get Jim under her wing and get Penguin out of the way.
She just thought she was smarter than everyone else.
Well, in some ways, right now she kind of is.
She might be fun to put in a scene with Riddler with all of that going on, since he's coming back into his own a little bit.
That
Sorta.
was something else about it. Riddler without
Yeah.
the Riddler abilities was just
Yeah.
stupid.
It was a little stupid, although there was some fun odd couple stuff with Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
And I did, so I have to sort of laugh a little bit at Myrtle, the Riddler rat.
That was so funny.
Because I think they were making a meta reference to the fact that Corey Michael Smith has a large female following, of which I probably can count myself as a member, but I don't stalk the guy.
I like her like trying to say probably before she's all like, I love him.
I still do. I love him.
No, that was a funny episode with the Riddlin.
Riddlerette.
Yeah, that was actually
Fangirl.
very funny.
Although then Victor Zsasz killed her, but Ed never got the message. That was pretty funny.
I still like Victor Zsasz as villain
gonna say,
more
He's
than most.
so funny.
That's what I was.
Sometimes
In the end, like he's the thing I'm most excited to
That's
see
supposed
is
to
him
be.
and his little one-liners and his facial reactions to everything
Yeah.
going on around him. He's so brilliant.
And he's been constant all the way through, somewhat like Penguin in a lot of ways. They've been constant
Yeah.
high points of this show. Zsasz is one of my favourite villains in this one.
And I actually liked his switch in loyalties. I thought that was a very well executed bit of story.
Well, and I mean, it
Right
goes
at the
back
end,
to
you
season
mean?
1. It's like one of the few things where it works.
Well, it's just funny too. I was like, "Oh, Penguin, you shouldn't have just yelled at him." He was like, "Screw you."
Well, he's always going to align himself with whoever he believes is truly
Oh
going to be
yeah,
running Gotham.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Period.
Who, Victor or
Yeah,
Penguin?
Victor.
Victor.
Well, I actually think, though, part of the story they're telling is that he was loyal to Carmine. And that's why...
I mean, Carmine's the one who rose him up.
Right.
Yeah.
So he decided to switch loyalties because Sophia is Carmine's daughter.
One thing they haven't done with Victor, and I think it's probably just purely for the time it would be in makeup, is every time he kills someone, he scars
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
I would like to see at least a scene with his shirt off where you see all the scars, because it's part of his psychology.
Yeah.
Is
'Cause he's
that's
not-
his trophy as a psychotic serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not. He's obviously not totally like Zaz, but just a little nod towards that would be kind of nice.
Yeah. And they do that well in some characters. They do a better job than others, but in many other characters they just completely bastardize the canon and don't care.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I still hate that there's a lot of like the villains that like you want to see them, but they're in the background, like the Mr. Freeze and the Poison Ivy, even though she's like obviously not great and some
Well,
of the
right
other
now
ones.
she's feral. She stole potions and drank them and got wild again.
And it changed her face.
It changed
Apparently.
to
Well, let's see. We started off as like a preteen girl with severe awkwardness. She came back
and
as some
possible
kind of
smelliness, according to some people.
and came back as some kind of sex vixen with no brain.
Yeah, true.
And now we're going to get some other Poison Ivy. So I guess we'll just have to see how that pans out. Because I believe actually the first episode coming back is Poison Ivy centric.
Oh. Yay.
I hope that, Poison Ivy is one of my favorite characters. I mean, she's a super smart female character, because I always hear people say, why isn't there enough strong female characters? There is, maybe you just don't know enough about the actual characters. She's a super important character, and I just hope they do.
They can't swing her back now. It's impossible.
It's Gotham.
She's never going to be Dr.
Pamela
Isley. Kyle. In between seasons, she went to college and got her doctorate.
They've done weirder things.
They could do something along the lines of, this plant has the ability to increase your intelligence. Why not?
See? There you go.
Would you be
One of
happy?
the
Honestly, Spencer
extras.
could probably write it better than most of the people who were there anyway.
I think this room would do a much better job of writing the show than the actual writers do. We would at least be consistent and not paying attention to social media for what we're going to do next week.
I think they should abandon the Poison Ivy character for a while and then bring her back. If they're gonna recast her, they should take a break and then bring her back.
Because she's not needed.
She's
Yeah.
not.
She's not needed right now.
There's
You've
way
got
too
a
much
wealth of
going on.
good
She was
villains.
gone. When she takes the potions, there's several episodes that happen, and
Yeah.
I forgot where she was and what she did because you didn't need it.
You didn't need it.
Well, that's why I was there. That's why it's sad that they're even bringing them in to begin with.
And
You know what I'm saying?
The Twisted Sisters is what I keep calling them. The Barbara, Tabitha,
Yeah.
Selena trio. You can take your issue with each of them individually, although I thought Selena was way more cooler this half season than all the other half seasons.
And she's still a high point.
She's still a
She's
high
still
point.
been the most accurate portrayal of the actual characters, and she's growing
And
more
her
consistently.
trajectory
yes.
fits.
She's
It's not like
growing-
they don't walk her back and then.
it's still.
Except for that one time she fell out of the window and died.
Well, but.
With an obvious homage
Well,
to Batman Returns.
which is fine. Crazier things have happened, but I also really like that scene where she's walking on top of the roof and Bruce gets up with her, and they're having that exchange with each other. That felt
Batman-esque.
that felt actually reminiscent
Like
of
what
what
we're
their
looking for?
relationship should start to be developing into. So I enjoyed that.
So to that end, because you were saying, Poison Ivy's strong female character, they're not doing her a service.
No.
I think they have other characters on the show that fill that piece of it. I just don't.
If you say
Better
Fish
than
Mooney,
Poison.
you lose a hand.
No, not Fish Mooney. I'm kind of talking about Selena, and I'm talking about Lee
Selena's
a
fine.
little bit, even though she had to recover from her touch virus.
She's actually done a decent job as a character. I found her engaging in this half season.
That's because she wasn't addled by a virus. I'm telling you, that virus was just horrible.
Which Jim has.
He's cured too.
Yeah.
Allegedly, they're all cured.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't make any sense. Why introduce a gas virus over the whole city that people now, except I guess in the Narrows, they have residuals of it. But people are just so easily recovering from. It was a terrible story choice.
Because it's Gotham. It's
I know.
what they do.
And I'm just talking about the actual story part, not the Batman characters, not the,
You have to wonder about a writer's room where that storyline survives the discussion going
Exactly.
into actually completing a script.
And the ratings are up and down. What a wonder.
Yeah. Because there are episodes. I guarantee you the second episode in this coming bunch is going to be the
Yes.
highest rated of the season because it's going to be Cameron Moynihan dominant. And people want to see that.
Yep.
So start telling the stories that people want to see and do it right, and you've got a very successful show on your hands. You keep doing this all over the place sloppiness, and
Yeah, it
we
doesn't
watch
have to
it, but
be-
we get angry, and then we get happy, and then we get angry, and
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
There's an
Or have
emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
of-
or stream of consciousness, as I've been told.
Just Hilary, not you.
Yeah, you're just like whatever.
You're like, I don't think I dislike this show as much as people.
I don't.
I enjoy it for what it is, but there are, as a Batman fan,
Yeah.
there's a lot of flaws.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I never went into it thinking it was going to be a 100% accurate portrayal. I said that in the beginning, and that didn't bother me. What started to bother me was all over the placeness. It was just too much. I couldn't take
They
it
weren't
anymore.
sticking with their own mythology.
Yeah.
Right, their own rules. They weren't
And I
following their own
still
rules.
enjoy it a lot more than other DC shows that are on TV right now, like Arrow.
Oh, she's putting it on Arrow, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah, because it's still campy and it's still fun, but Arrow is like slog. So
I don't know if I could break that tie. Because when I watch them both, I'm engaged. Then when we...
I'll break the tie for you. Stephen Amell.
I know.
Tie broken, isn't it?
no, but she also likes Corey.
But I like Steven more than Corey.
You don't like Grundy's abs?
No.
His dad.
I love Solomon Grundy, and I love that he's in it, but I don't love their makeup choices.
It got better by the end. It started to look a little more... In the very first episode...
It was bad.
It was really
By
bad.
the end, it did get better, you're right. And I actually loved having Solomon Grundy in the show. It was
I would hate it.
Yeah, I did too, and it was kind of a nice relief. The fight scenes were awesome in the ring where he was basically getting... guitar and then he'll rip someone's arm off and beat them to death with it.
That's very normal. That's for him. But I love it when Ed is like back in the mirror and he's having the struggle with his Riddler personality again and stuff, and then Solomon Grundy walks in and he's like, "What's wrong? Are you mad at Mirror?" And he's like, no. And he's like, "Ed mad with Ed?" And he goes, "That's surprisingly perceptive."
I know. I loved all their interchanges.
Their relationship was a lot of fun. I hope they don't screw that up with the Tabitha thing.
Yeah, that's my worry. What that ending was like. It was working. He was working where he was.
He was
separate
coming
from
back
that
to
for a while.
Butch.
Yeah, why does she have to do that? Leave him alone.
He's actually better as Grundy than he was as Butch.
Leave him alone.
So in the comics,
she's beating him with like a big pipe.
I know. And then in the end, he says, "Tabby."
No.
But she doesn't hear him.
She doesn't hear him. She's walked away. She's given up, but he's come to somehow. So prepare yourself.
Yeah, prepare yourself to see Butch back. And then they'll go off. Her and Tabitha and Butch will go after Ed again.
Probably. And that will... I know. But then there's also the alliance with the three women and Sophia, because, well, alliance is a very light word.
Don't trust Sophia in alliance. Just going to put that out there.
They don't know that, though.
Yeah, Jim's the only one that knows, really.
I was gonna ask if Grundy in the comics, is he always, I guess, dumb is the...
I mean, depending on the writers, but usually, he's pretty stupid. He's kind of like the Hulk, if you know that. Big, strong,
just
but like the mentality of like a 6-year-old.
Strong, angry 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Kind of like a zombie.
He is like a zombie. Yeah,
and a big temper.
Yeah, he's not really evil. People can use him, but
Batman always sets him off.
Yeah.
He sees Batman, he goes into destroy mode.
Yeah.
He gets raged.
So it makes me nervous that Gotham will give us Grundy and this fun character and then just take it away.
Like so many other things.
But that's what we're
Where Gotham giveth, Gotham taketh.
It's okay, they'll bring back Fish Mooney like so.
No Fish Mooney! Stop it! And by the way, Barbara can take a walk.
Might maybe take Fish and Barbara, turn them into chum and feed them to like the King Shark.
Or Killer Croc.
Or Killer Croc, there you go.
Croc. Did we see Killer Croc for real though? We just saw like a shadow of a possibility of Killer Croc on that bus of mutants.
Yeah. And that was a storyline that started and then went nowhere.
Yeah.
Correct.
And we lost Bizarro Bruce.
I'm not sad about that.
No, I'm not either. It was a weird character, a weird story choice.
Yeah, nobody likes emo Bruce.
The Court of Owls did. They accepted.
They were stupid too.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
they should have been way cooler.
Storyline.
They weren't.
That wasn't the real Court of Owls.
I think in a lot of ways it all comes back to, with this type of show, you're never going to pull in a completely new audience. If you do something that's based in the Batman universe, you're going to pull in Batman fans. To write against canon as hard as they do sometimes, all you're doing is alienating your audience.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
Why as a...
Unless you're like someone like Nick, who's just like, I'll watch it.
But why as a company...
We watched it because we kept talking about it.
Right.
Well, I like the cartoon, but I also like the Adam West one.
Yeah.
But why as a
The
company
animated
would you
series, now
employ
we're talking.
writers to write about a subject with such deep canon that don't seem to care about the canon at all?
When you know there's writers out there who grew
Oh,
up with
God,
Batman comics.
Guys like Kevin Smith would do this kind of thing a massive justice.
Yeah, that's the confusing part. Because there's people who would like that job.
Easily.
And there just seems to be this push on the part of the Gotham writers to cram as much Batman stuff into a pre-Batman story that it ends up leaving everyone confused.
Which is how I feel that new Krypton show is going to be too.
Probably. Aren't they developing that one?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
But isn't it going to? It's not even going to be on regular TV, is it? Or is that
sci-fi?
Cable.
I wish I had interest in it, but
Yeah.
I don't. A Superman show without Superman.
Yeah.
Smallville's the only thing that did that successfully,
Yeah.
and it had Clark at least. So you got. I think that's what
And
Gotham's
Tom Welling.
now
Yeah,
starting
Tom
to try
Welling
and be.
hearts.
Yeah.
That's all. So back to Gotham, though. What about we haven't talked much about Penguin. We talked around Penguin. Penguin he was the motor on the whole half season because he had his Pax Penguina with his licenses for the criminals and gangsters in Gotham City, running the underworld that way. He also met when Sophia Falcone came back to Gotham City and started the orphanage. There was the little orphan named Martin,
Cute character.
yeah, who I think ends up becoming somebody. I just don't
I
know who it is.
liked that little. I liked their little thing together, right?
Yeah.
It was cute.
Right.
Yeah,
Looking at Kyle.
Honestly, most everything they've done with Penguin has been good.
Yeah.
They did him a disservice this season, though, towards the end there, or this half season, with once Penguin takes over the underworld in Gotham, Penguin
Yeah.
should hold on to the underworld in Gotham.
Yeah.
It was way too easy for him to lose control again, and I think
Yes.
that's a big disservice to the character.
I don't know that I agree with that.
But he had a stranglehold on it. It wasn't like he had a thinly veiled grip on it. He had taken out every crime boss and
Yeah.
taken over
I
completely.
agree with Spencer.
But there were other factors that were involved, and what we know about the Penguin character from the source is that he has the tendency to, I don't want to say arrogance, that's maybe a strong word, but he gets a little too comfortable.
He's egocentric.
He's
Yeah.
egocentric, and he does
lashes
kind of-
out
He lashes
emotionally.
out, and he loses control. And in this particular half season, because you had Sophia kind of manipulating everybody, including him, with puppet strings, you also had Jim kind of taking on his final, I guess, the path to the noble commissioner. He's now captain. He's been promoted to captain of the Central
Yeah.
Branch.
Thanks to Sophia, though.
Yeah, and then you had Victor Zsasz turn on him in the end, who was his chief lieutenant, and he also alienated Edward because he froze him, and then called him dumb.
Yeah, that'll put a chill on a relationship.
Yeah, right, haha. I mean, there were a lot of things that he did which I don't think are necessarily out of character. Yeah, did he lose it? He had a stranglehold and he lost it, but that's what a Batman villain does. He just lost it without Batman interfering.
And that's the problem. The way in which he lost it was just...
Yeah, those things happen, but it still wouldn't make sense
It's
to the
like
character of Penguin.
he's, instead of being knocked down a peg or two, he's suddenly completely lost everything that he built carefully and cleverly.
And
And
how
it's
could he
now
not see
suddenly
that
gone.
was happening? Because he's already outwitted all these other people. That's my
Because
thing.
he wanted a friend.
He was blinded by Marty.
And Sophia. He thought Sophia was his actual true friend.
But the problem was he suspected Sophia for
Yeah,
several weeks
that's what
in
I'm saying.
several
That doesn't-
episodes.
it doesn't
but
jive.
always kept going, oh no, she's okay. You know, it's like,
That's what I'm
it
saying.
just-
It still doesn't jive.
they broke it a little bit. Not as much as they've broken many other things, but
This is the one I don't agree on.
It could have been
I think
told
it was
better.
all right. So, I do think, because the way he acted it, again, a credit to Robin Lord Taylor,
yeah, he's fantastic.
is that he showed his conflict each and every time that something happened that he either suspected or saw coming.
And while I'll agree with you on that, the character, the way it's been portrayed to date, when he had that kind of conflict, he would knife it.
Yeah, that's...
This time he didn't. And I guess maybe that desperately wanting a friend works in there. But it just...
They already did the whole, like, he had a friend in Ed, and Ed
Yeah,
betrayed
that's
him.
what
So
I'm
you
saying.
think, like, yeah,
He's
they built
already-
in his
he's
character
already
arc that
gone
he
through
shouldn't
this,
shouldn't
so he's
trust
not-
anybody.
Yeah.
He shouldn't...
And when he started showing that he couldn't trust her, he still somehow kept trusting her.
Like, to me, I guess it's all your perception, but to me it comes off as he's still being really naive, and he should be smarter than that, in my opinion.
Okay, I don't agree. I just don't. Of all the things and all the things that happen in
I'm not
this
saying
season,
it's like a horrible thing, I'm just saying it just doesn't totally make sense.
I think they're setting him up, though, and part of it was to set him up to end up in Arkham. because he loses it by the end. Like, he
Yeah.
literally loses it and goes wow over everybody. And Victor turns on him and lies about Martine, who is still alive, but he tells Jim Gordon that Penguin murdered him. And that set up his entry back into Arkham, conveniently in the cell next to whatever his name is.
Jerome.
Jerome
yeah.
Valeska. The Joker, not Joker. I know his real name, and I know Joker, not Joker. Or Proto-Joker.
Proto-Joker.
Or
Yeah.
likely not to be the real Joker. I don't
You
know.
know, they've even done a full Joker storyline with him losing his face and getting it back. But,
Yeah.
still not the Joker.
I mean, it's Gotham. Now we're back to it's just Gotham.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he'll probably still just end up being him.
And at the end of the
I
day,
think
there
you're
are
right.
still
I think you're
brilliant
right.
episodes of this show.
There are. And there were quite a few in this half season.
This is probably the strongest half season of all of them
Yeah.
so far.
And even though it was very, 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 very like Sweeney Todd, what about the episode, because I've said that multiple times, Professor Pig is basically Mrs. Lovett. What about Professor Pig serving pieces of homeless people to the rich people of Gotham, Penguin included?
I loved the societal element to that. I actually found that to be a very engaging episode. Gross as all hell. I gagged a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
I just like
if you're
Jim's-
going to eat someone, you don't want to eat a homeless person. That's some seasoning I'm just not into.
That's what you're thinking about?
I'm being facetious.
Yeah, sure. I just like Jim's entrance in that because he's like dodging the knives and then he like jumps on the table and rolls at him and all sorts of crazy action going on there.
Yeah, there was something interesting about Pig's character in the way that he really wanted to engage Jim Gordon. He had the chance to kill him several times, but never wanted to. It's almost like, I want you to catch me. And maybe that's all comes from Sophia's direction. You can play with him, but you can't kill him, kind of a deal.
I think it was.
But
Yeah.
that was really fun.
But it worked. I mean, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed the Scarecrow episode a lot. Where did he go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my number one
Well,
question.
he went to recasting.
That's what.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
That's what Gotham
But
does.
then even
Drink some
if,
plant potion.
right, even if he did get recast, they never said what happened to him at the end of the episode. Did they take him back to Arkham, or is he at large? No one knows.
They'll tell you
one knows.
later once they realize who he's going to be again.
Oh, that was such a good episode. The whole way he turned it was like, wow, this is the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
That's fun. Oh.
Is there a character Anubis that they pulled from for the show? That was just
There's a couple characters with that name in DC.
Yeah.
and it's just
I mean,
a wild
yeah.
feral human.
Oh, that weird guy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
weird dog-like
Yeah.
guy. That was...
That's why I kept saying to Hilary, I was like, that poor actor, there's no dignity in that.
No, there's nothing good about that.
Oh, you're talking about the, like, kind of werewolf-looking one?
The one who was the tracker for
Do you think they
Roz.
went to an
Yeah,
improv
that's
class
what-
somewhere near the casting office and just said, okay, act like a dog. You. We want you.
Yeah, there isn't an, I don't think it's Batman character, but there is an Anubis in DC Comics, and it is based on the Egyptian god.
Yeah.
They have kind of supernatural powers.
Sometimes I think they just look through the glossary of villains, find a name and call
Yeah.
a character a name
You
that
could
has nothing to
accuse,
do
you could
with...
accuse the Arrowverse of
Yeah.
Oh
doing
yeah,
that,
Arrow's
too. So,
Arrow's still better
But
at
certainly
continuity at least.
In the comics, Ra's al Ghul would never
Continuity,
use somebody
yeah,
like that.
Continuity, you have
Continuity,
to.
yes, but not in entertainment value.
oh, it's the Arrow versus Gotham show.
I also want to know what the heck ever happened to Harvey Dent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
He's on that show with John Lithgow on NBC.
Okay, when will Harvey Dent change his face?
That's a very good
Well,
question.
at some point, nicely done. Nicely done. For those of you who don't know, Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face.
Yes.
This is so punny.
There's a lot of puns this time. Maybe that means that Gotham has at least improved slightly where we're comfortable making puns.
I would say that this is my
group will
favorite
do that in.
of the seasons.
Yeah, it's
So far, probably.
It's
I'm
the most
not gonna
fun to
say-
me.
I'm not going to say
I
of
said I
the
think this group does
seasons because
that
we
to
don't know what's going to happen in part 2. But other than the one where the second half, or the first half of season 2, when they were trying to veer away and Penguin and Riddler were kind of becoming friends.
Yeah, the birth of the villains,
The
or
Birth
whatever
of
it was
the
called.
Villains, yeah.
Rise of
Rise
Villains.
of the Villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one and this one are my two favorite
Yeah.
half seasons. But I'm a little bit concerned based on how they left the mid-season point, except for Penguin and Jerome Valeska.
I guess that's all I'm thinking about.
I'm sure
Yeah,
they'll find a
that's
way
all
to bring you
everybody
back
wants
to
to see
that
right
stream
now.
of consciousness.
Yeah.
And then hearing that it's going to be a Poison Ivy episode coming back.
I know.
It's like if that hit big build up
Lousy.
and then
At least they're only making you
Terrible.
go through one episode before that Arkham Asylum, Joker, Penguin, not Joker.
Maybe they've listened to our podcast and they know how annoying it is.
Maybe she's in Arkham Asylum and everybody gets involved.
Maybe.
Who knows?
That could be fun.
You just never know.
You know, it occurs to me as I'm sitting here thinking about this, the perfect meme for this show is Heath Ledger as the Joker in the nurse's uniform, and if you just title the hospital Writer's Room, when he walks out and he's banging the
It's just
explosive
not
and then it
working.
blows up, that's how this Writer's Room is. It's chaos in there.
It must. I really don't know. It must be.
That's not where you thought he was going with
I
that.
just
I
never,
could see in her face.
I just never ever seen a show
Because half my
that
brain's like yes, and then half my brain's like that's not what he was going to say.
but I have never seen a show more disjointed that has managed to stay on the air.
Yeah.
And it's because some of the episodes are so good.
Does it come down to the showrunner?
Yes.
That's
A lot of it, because they're the ones that ultimately create the direction for the writers to take. When
Who
they're
is
writing
running
dialogue.
this show?
let's say
is there anyone?
A 4-year-old with a crayon box?
Now we've gone to 4.
Somebody
At
with
least we're not
severe
monkeys, I
ADHD?
guess.
I
don't
could look it
know.
up, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a different person every half season or something.
It
like
could be.
that. That's
We haven't even talked about Lee becoming kind of the head of the underworld in the Narrows, and Ed being in love with her.
It was a little weird, but at the same time...
She's like trying to fix
But, yeah, with
aspects
her-
of the underworld.
yeah, she's not trying to take over the underworld and
It's
use
like-
it for nefarious purposes.
it's-
She's trying to
Yeah.
help people.
It's
And I
like
like
at first
She's
she
actually
did it.
trying to
Yeah,
account
I mean when they
for
first
past
showed her and
lives.
she was
Yes.
like drinking and like dark, I was like, I groaned because I was like, oh great.
They're gonna make her
But once
Barbara.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I thought. But then when actually, you know, her clinic and all everything she was doing for the Narrows, I was like, okay, that's within her character and it adds to her.
Well, and maybe that's the whole thing. Like, she was like, I'm going to go about it this way instead because she wasn't getting any results the other way. And, you know, her and Jim were having all that conflict because he was doing things at the time he shouldn't do.
Well, and just having her be a villain all last season, it just didn't work.
True, but Ed
Yeah.
loves her now.
I
Yeah,
love
that'll be
Miranda.
interesting, because Ed usually kills his love
Yes,
interests.
extension.
I love her.
What did you say?
Ed
Spencer?
usually kills his love interests, so that could get interesting.
Oh, that's right. Well, if the Riddler comes back through, he's talking in the mirror again.
Well, and didn't we end up with him finding out that there's nothing wrong with his brain? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
all-
she
Yeah.
told him that.
So
She's like,
it
it's
should
all
be
it.
pretty easy for him to become the Riddler again.
He
Well,
Let's
yeah,
hope
she gave
so.
him some of that, like already he had already started rewiring and talking to himself in the mirror and all that stuff as soon as she told him.
those were some of the best scenes of any of the Riddler stuff that we got this
Yeah.
season, other than the interactions with
Solomon
Solomon.
Grundy, yeah.
The arguing with himself in the mirror scenes were just great.
They were.
Yeah.
They gave me feels.
They
But
gave
I,
you that psychosis
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
I
Because
did
he said,
enjoy
we have
when
so
he,
much fun together.
Right. I did enjoy when he was pretending to be the Penguin when he was warming up the fights in Cherry's.
That was funny.
To the point that Penguin actually sent the Twisted Sisters to assassinate him. So, and then
Don't disrespect
Firefly
me.
and Mr. Freeze randomly showed up one at a time.
What do they do? What are they just doing in Gotham?
I-
Just every once in a while they just show
I
up.
thought you liked this show.
I do, but I don't understand.
He likes it a lot less when
Mr.
we're here
Freeze is
together
just
and
sitting in
pointing out all the holes.
a refrigerator waiting until somebody calls him.
I know.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
weird that those two characters are just
Goons.
Yeah,
They
just
shouldn't be henchmen at all.
But
Because he is Mr. Freeze at his full power. It's,
Yes.
So I don't. That doesn't make
He
sense.
has his own motives and his own
He goes from
thing.
being a genius
Well-
doctor to gun-toting thug.
What did
Like-
they do with Nora in the earlier season?
She died.
She completely
They killed her
died,
right
which
away.
was all of Freeze's motivation to do everything he was doing was to try and cure Nora.
traditionally,
They've killed
it's a
her.
character, yeah.
Yeah. So the motivating force for the character is gone. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so-
maybe whatever smart plant Poison Ivy eats to make herself smart, she'll give to Victor
Just repeat that sentence and listen to yourself say it.
Yeah.
There's a slight hint of sarcasm.
And they might think
so
it's genius.
ridiculous.
They could be listening to our podcast right now. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they got a notepad.
So whatever you do to make Poison Ivy smart, use it on Mr. Freeze, because that's half of it.
Also,
He's
get rid of that
supposed to
terrible
be
white
smart.
wig.
What?
Yeah,
Get rid of
Yeah,
that terrible white
What's
wig.
with the white wigs with all the villains?
Yeah,
Like,
shouldn't he be bald?
He should be bald.
he
yes.
should be
He should
bald.
have nothing. 'Cause
And the
he's
Solomon
frozen.
Grundy, like, it's like barely on his head. Don't like it. Just fix that.
Is it funny that Solomon Grundy sometimes seemed smarter than Butch Gilzean?
Yeah.
It is fun.
That's why I don't want Bush to come back.
I actually thought they did. I mean, you mentioned it. I think the last episode that stature-wise, Drew Powell doesn't really make me think of Solomon
Yeah.
Grundy.
They did a good job, though, didn't they?
But they did a good job. He makes me think of him, and I'm like, oh, they're using him. He's kind of, sort of funny at times, but and then he goes crazy when he's fighting, like he's supposed to.
It wasn't even crazy, was it? It was like, stop hitting me.
Yeah.
I'm now going to have to hurt
By
you.
crazy, I mean really, really violent, because
Yes.
he can't do anything else.
Yes.
I mean, I like the song. Playing.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was a
even
good
sometimes
touch.
he would wait for Ed to tell him, okay, now beat the tar out of him.
Yes, I like it. Solomon Grundy's fun.
It definitely is definitely a half season with more high points than low points, but the low points are still the same distressing.
Isn't Laszlo Valentine the name of somebody who becomes somebody else, though? I feel like I've heard that name before.
Laszlo Valentine is in the comics the name of Professor Pig. But they've said, and even the showrunner said, that he's not the real Professor Pig, he's just pretending. So he probably took that name too. That's probably not even his real name either.
I know, that
It's so
makes
weird
me
to
sad
use
in
the
life.
same.
Well, to have him be the exact character and then give him the same name, but then be like, well, he's not really him though. It's ridiculous.
But they just keep doing that.
Well, I mean, but this
Whether it's the actor
And
changing.
there's no reason why they had to have that twist and say he's not Professor Pig. Like, it would have been just as fine to say she hired Professor Pig to do this. It would have made just as much sense.
The concept of there being a serial killer who comes into an area and impersonates a different serial killer. That's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. It's a unique concept that's interesting. Cool is the wrong word. But you're right, to give him the actual character's name, playing the villain, and then say, but he's not that character or that villain, was, again, an interesting choice.
Yeah.
It really is like they like to crap all over the canon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same thing they did with the very first Clayface, like, way back.
Good point.
They don't seem to recognize, except for in Penguin and Riddler, they don't seem to recognize when they have a good, and Selena, when they don't have a good, when they have a good thing. Like,
I think they.
Professor Pig's he's not a major Batman villain.
He is now.
I never heard
Well,
of
he
him.
is now in the last, 3 years. He's a new villain,
Yeah.
but people because they try new villains all the time with Batman, and none of them stick compared to his rogues gallery. Professor Pig has come the closest. I mean, he's not as beloved, but he's more reoccurring than...
And the fact that I haven't read any of the comic books in about a decade now, I did not know who Professor Pig was going into these, and I liked the villain.
Because, in the storylines when Nightwing is Batman, Dick Grayson, is when they introduced Professor Pig as a unique, that's his first rogue.
Nice.
And people liked him, and so when it switched back to Bruce, they still kept him on.
But this actor did such a good job.
Yeah, he did, and it was such a stark
scary
contrast
sometimes.
to
Oh yeah,
his...
it was like a horror movie.
So completely different to his Fringe character that I didn't even realise until you said about it when we were not on mic at one point.
I know, I was like, Michael Cerverus!
Wow.
And he talked.
Yeah, talking was a good thing.
Well, I mean,
And he
and
had
one of
his-
my favorite scenes was when Gordon's talking to him when he's disguised as the wounded cop in the ambulance. He's talking with a completely different cadence, and then he pops out and he pops all the makeup off, and that actor is just really great.
He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. And that's something they need to find with their new Scarecrow. Although the old Scarecrow was fine. I don't know why you've recast that.
It
But
might have been the actor's availability, honestly.
could be, I suppose. The Poison Ivy thing, though, I don't know whether that's actor availability or they're just not finding their groove.
Yeah.
I think they're just not finding their groove. I think
I think with her, they finally it's not working.
It's not working.
But that wasn't the actress's fault.
Yeah,
I thought what she was doing on screen was fine. It just the material
Poison
that she
Ivy.
was
Yeah,
given
they
was
didn't give her
absolute
anything
garbage.
Poison Ivy to do.
No.
That
She was
character.
like
they're
Penguin's
just
hostess.
that's what I'm saying. They're calling her Poison Ivy, but she's nothing like
I
that
think
character.
part of the problem there, and I think that's going to be very true throughout this show as a whole, they don't have a massive special effects budget. Poison Ivy needs plants coming up and attacking people, and the special effects, but it's expensive. And if they don't,
I think they could do a simplistic version, like you're saying. Even if Zaz just at some point did that nod with the marks on his body somewhere, they could do simplistic things. It would make me a lot happier if they just did her personality correctly. Put that.
I think what they did wrong is that they didn't know how to. We've aged her.
Yeah.
She still has to kind of have the mind of a child.
Yeah.
But then they made her really sexual too. And like kids aren't dumb, they just don't know things. So they could have played that better.
yeah, they could have, but I understood
they
the
skipped her
sexualization
schooling.
just purely
Yeah.
because they used a very attractive woman, and her first interaction when coming back was with a guy who was like, "Holy crap, you're gorgeous," and she was smart enough to pick up on, "Wow, men find me really attractive all of a sudden," then I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Plus, they're still trying to cram that because that's part of her character. She's a vixen. She's
a
alluring.
femme fatale.
She's a femme fatale. So they're trying to shoehorn that into, like you said.
And they did a good
started-
thing with
still
her
talking
being able to
like
use
12
the
years old.
pheromone
Yeah.
spray or
That's
whatever
what I'm
it was
saying.
she
It
was
doesn't-
doing to get men to do
of
what she
course-
wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, those are going to be part of it. I'm just saying there's all the other aspects of her.
But you do need the big
yeah.
attacking plants for her character to really.
I mean,
look at
they could do
her
like little
inclination.
things, but like even like the green skin like creeping up. I mean, if you can make Mr. Freeze, do his makeup, you can do like hints of Poison Ivy's makeup and little things to suggest that. But they don't even try to do that.
No, it may come as there's definitely because they started out with her as a dirty urchin, cast off
Possibly
from
smelly.
Annie. So
I just remember that being in our very first Gotham episode. That was focused on.
yeah.
She probably smells. No one would want to be around this Poison Ivy. That was Kyle.
Nobody wants to be around any of the Poison Ivies, apparently.
Well, I'm sorry, I do not like Peyton List. She's kind of she was Golden Glider on The Flash.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was also the Tomorrow People and was the worst part.
Did
That's
anybody
not
watch that?
Me. It was actually pretty cool.
Just Kylie. So 20% of the talking audience or the talking room
No,
here.
one of my brothers also watched it.
It was
He's not here.
that was Dollar Store X-Men.
No, that's not it at all. They're not mutants. That's not how it works.
It was Dollar Store X-Men.
It was not. You're judging. You didn't even watch it. So what do you hope to see in the second half of season 4, if anything? And also, how do you feel about where they left the cliffhanger? So in the cliffhanger, Bruce is lost in the party scene. He fired Alfred. He's all in his angst groove. Penguin is in Arkham next to Jerome. Ed is in love with Lee, but, struggling with the Riddler. Lee is a crime lord, sort of. The Twisted Sisters are working for Sophia. Sophia heads the underworld because Penguin's in Arkham. Victor Zsasz is her lieutenant now. Pig is maybe dead. Raish is maybe dead. Scarecrow is at large, maybe. Solomon Grundy is, we don't know. And Jim is still captain, but Sophia, is holding their alliance over his head because it could undermine all of his hard work. So where do you feel about going into this next half of season, and what do you hope to see?
A lot of this makes me nervous.
Yeah, and I'll agree with that because they don't always carry on from where they left off with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could
Here's a cliffhanger, but now we're going for a country stroll.
Yeah, I mean, they could mop it up in like 10 minutes in this first episode.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
A
I don't
completely
even like to
crazy
make-
different direction.
Like, we always make predictions about what's going to happen. I don't even like to do it anymore with Gotham. There's no point, because,
I want to see.
seriously.
I want to see Joker. I want to see Riddler. I want to see Penguin, and that's pretty much what keeps drawing me back to this show.
I mean, I want Scarecrow back.
I want Scarecrow back. I think Bruce and Alfred will come back to a place.
I think we need to see
Well,
Bruce hit
yeah.
absolute bottom
Probably.
so that he can.
So if they continue with the storyline,
Well, yeah,
I just hope
think
they
he's
hurry it
on
up,
his
though.
way.
I hope
Yeah,
they don't
I-
just keep having episodes of him getting drunk and passing out. Like, we've seen it like 3 times already.
Yeah, agreed.
But we need to see something.
I'd like to see like
Something
more
life
emotional.
changing.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is
So
I just don't want
basically-
them to keep doing the scenes of just him drinking and partying Like, they actually need to get into, like, what's going on in his head.
Maybe he'll drunkenly stroll out into the garden, fall down
see
the
a
well,
bat.
and see a bat.
I also want to see Selena. I'm more engaged with than I ever have been, and I think her role in the 3, even though she's kind of using Tabitha to learn stuff from and as a mentor.
She's
I mean,
becoming the
she's still-
smarter
she's
of all
becoming
of
the
them.
smartest of the 3.
And she's still, which is accurate,
Yep.
and she's still, I mean, she's still a teenager. They're older, so it just makes sense. At least something makes sense in a timeline. What?
Tabby teaching her whip skills was fun.
That was fun.
Yes.
That was a nice
Well, and then she was like
character
a
moment.
perfect, like she had
Well,
like a
Tabitha
natural
said
aptitude
that, like,
for
she
it.
picked up on it, like, quicker than...
Yeah.
And I like when she sassed back at Barbara. That's enjoyable for me.
Yes.
So, I wish more people did that because I hate her.
Yeah, Selena.
So those are pretty much the main villains, the big 4 that you just named, plus Scarecrow.
We might actually see the end of Fish Mooney altogether, because when she did appear, it was alluded to that she had this degenerative disease that will finally kill her, as did everybody on that bus.
I'm fine if she never comes back, Spencer.
Well-
keep her away.
Fully agree with that, but if she does come back, it actually definitively being the end.
All right, as long as she doesn't find the Lazarus pit.
If she does, drown her in it.
And I also want to know, I mean, I'm scared
Lazarus
to know,
pit.
but Rachel Gould, I just don't think that I mean, it looked pretty final, but I don't think it's final.
Like you said, that blade must have something to do with him being able to... He was tired of the body he had or something,
back.
but Ra's al Ghul was always in the same body that rejuvenated itself from the Lazarus Pit. So again, if they do give it a new actor and a new body, it's another misstep.
But that actor is coming back, so that's what's confusing.
Yeah,
Is he coming back, or was he just a series regular for the first half of the season?
I don't know.
Yeah,
And if he
the
does come
credits
back,
could
is it going
change
to-
in the next half.
Maybe Ra's al Ghul is what brings Bruce out of the depths and starts training him. Who
Maybe
knows?
Which
Rachel
would be like
Gould,
Batman Begins.
Yeah.
maybe his Rach's essence is in Bruce right now, and that's why he
Is
is acting
being
out.
the way he is. Ooh. Ooh,
By
man.
stabbing him with the knife,
You've
it
been so
transferred
quiet,
his
then you
essence
said something
into...
really good.
Right.
That's brilliant! Quickly rewrite our scripts.
Nick came out with something
Explore mine.
extremely poignant.
As long as his essence isn't in Barbara's glowing hand.
No!
I really enjoy it.
Actually,
don't think
Barbara
I'm
is going to be the female
Please.
Iron Fist, and she's transferring over to Marvel.
No, that's not good. Don't give her to anyone else.
Yeah, plus Marvel's already doing well on its own. It doesn't need all that crap.
Nobody wants to make Well, and it's fine. I just ask, and actually I think it's poignant if people are listening, that you don't want to make predictions.
I'll make
because
one
they
prediction.
do typically make predictions.
I will make one prediction.
Okay.
They're going to screw up the Joker storyline.
Yeah.
That will be my prediction for the back half of
That's
this
a
season.
Negative.
Well, I just think he's going to be like the season with him and the Penguin is going to be so brilliant, and then they're going to pull this new Joker out of nowhere.
And
Thinking on
the
my
only
own.
way for
They're like
what we
real-
have as the Joker
I think
now
their
to be gone is for the
paranoia
new
is
Joker
running
to
away
actually
with
kill
them.
him.
Yeah.
Say that again, Hilary.
I think your guys' paranoia is running away with you. I really don't think at this point there's going to be a different Joker.
They've
actor.
already said.
They've said it.
That doesn't
They
mean
lied.
anything. They've said a lot of things,
It could
guys.
be lying just because, but everybody has said, Cameron has said, the writers have said, the
Yeah.
showrunner has said, they've all said this is not the Joker. He is not the Joker.
But why isn't it just as believable that they could backpedal because they've done it with so many other things?
Or to quote William Shakespeare, "Methinks you doth protest too much."
It's possible. Anything's possible with this show. But that is my prediction. They will screw up the Joker.
I mean, they screw up a lot of things, so.
I just want the Riddler to come back and wear his Riddler suit and be the Riddler. That's my favorite.
That would be fun.
I'm just happy they didn't, really go off the rails and, because they're trying to cram so many villains in and just, randomly add Harley in because she's so popular, even though that would really not make sense.
Please don't add Harley in.
Would you?
We're okay with it.
They could.
But would you be upset if she was not? If she was is she a psychologist? Psychiatrist?
Psychiatrist.
She should be younger than all of them.
She's
So I mean, if
younger
they
than all of
introduced
them.
Carlene Quinzel as Bruce's age or a little bit younger,
She
that'd
grows
be fine.
up in a trailer park, so maybe they could pan to her in, a trailer with her.
The only way it works is if they have her as the psychologist in Arkham. And you don't have to have her become Harley Quinn yet. Stay away from that.
Yeah,
for a
have her
while.
be an
Stay
intern
from
or
Harley
something.
Quinn.
Don't
But that's
go
what I'm
jump
saying. They're
straight
just
into
trying to cram
the
so many.
persona.
I'm just glad they haven't gone over if they go that deep, then I'm just gonna.
Aren't they making a standalone Harley Quinn film?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they probably won't be allowed to use the
good
character
point.
in Gotham.
Okay, fair enough.
Phew. Hey, Tommy Elliott was back.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that was okay. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Who's Tommy Elliott?
He's
becomes
Hush.
He's
in the
Hush, one of
comics.
Batman's
He's
bigger
his friend
villains.
when they're younger.
Friend.
He's
Yeah,
a sociopath.
yes, friend.
Bruce grows up thinking that Tommy's his best friend.
Friend,
Tommy is a
yes.
sociopath who's jealous of Bruce. He wants to be like Bruce, so he murders his own parents
Oh.
to try to emulate what
Yeah.
happened to Bruce.
He's kind of like
He's
the
super-
anti-Bruce Wayne.
He's
and it's
super
actually,
dark.
Yeah, he's
It's a very dark storyline.
Why is his name Hush?
pretty much because like Hush Little Baby, when he was a kid, he was nothing that his parents gave him was ever enough. He was never happy, so he took his name from that nursery rhyme.
What's his costume look like?
His bandages
His
over his
bandages,
face,
'cause
a
I have
trench
all the
coat,
answers.
trench coat, and he has two guns.
Kyle's the resident encyclopedia of comic books.
But because he knew Bruce so well, as soon as Batman showed up, he knew Bruce was Batman.
I mean, you have most of that series, don't you?
Yes.
You could show him. Just saying. He's creepy looking.
I mean,
I have
essentially,
not read the story, but I've read
he's Batman in a villain form.
Yeah.
Like he's just as brilliant as Bruce and just as athletically capable.
It's one
He's
of
a
the more
doctor.
lauded storylines out of the Batman
Did
comics.
you say he's a doctor?
He's a surgeon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, I kind of want to read it myself. I just know the synopsis of it. Everything is synopsis for me. Nobody cares what Cliffhanger. Okay, so have the writers and all corrected for their prior
Cliffhanger was
ills.
just like.
I know. Well, and you all said cliffhanger, schmiffhanger. They don't do anything with it.
Well, sometimes. No.
Have the writers corrected for prior ills? Are they doing better, worse, the same? And how do you find the show nowadays? And again, I'm going to ask this question because I think it's important for Gotham. If you could talk to the creators of Gotham again, based on this recent half season, what would you say now?
I literally feel my blood pressure go up a little bit when you ask that. I just feel like
If you imagine the gauge being a gas gauge in a car, they are now just ever so slightly back above halfway for this half season.
Okay.
But I have the feeling that they're going to hit a pothole, puncture the gas tank, and it's going to be empty by the end.
and then I'm gonna go back to all over the place.
So, okay. So you're thinking they're doing slightly better with
Slightly
potential
better.
to lose all their momentum.
Yeah.
Slightly better with chance to derail.
Like a smudge.
A smudge.
A
Better.
smidge better?
Oh,
Oh, smidge.
I like to say smudge.
okay. No, with these guys, smudge is probably more accurate.
Whatever. You're just whatever.
They can't see my gestures,
No, they can't.
Or your Batman pants,
right?
which are quite splendid.
Thanks.
So if you could talk, well, I noticed Nick and Kyle haven't answered that question. Do you agree with the gas gauge analogy?
Pretty much. I mean, I feel like I like this first half more than that they're only going to go down from here. I mean, I want to be optimistic, but based on everything we've seen before,
I
it's
think we'll have some
impossible.
brilliant standalone episodes, but some absolute.
And I swear, if they like knock Jim down from that promotion,
yeah.
because
And
they
then
keep
back to Road Cop.
because he's up, down, and all around all the time, I will be so pissed. I'm so tired of that.
What they don't know how to do is show a character grow.
Yeah.
They keep getting characters to where they should be in the Batman
And then they have to
universe.
pull him back.
Yeah, they keep doing that. So there is potential that they'll fall from grace.
If I could give these writers any words of advice, they would probably be: if you go to a Comic-Con, don't let anybody know you write this show, because you will be dead. Did I?
You did.
There you go. Short-term memory problems.
He has to remind them so that they don't do it.
And people are really not afraid to talk about their opinions there. So
No, they would find themselves bloodied in a corner.
Yeah, they'll shank you with a mechanical pencil.
Wow.
It happened.
Nick.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
I got stabbed in the eye.
Oh.
With the mechanical pencil.
Okay.
Wow. I want to know more about that story.
That's about it.
It was a Batman vs Superman panel
Oh. Well.
before that movie came out. They got like passionate.
It was people on the panel themselves?
No, it's
or-
nerds on the panel, and they got into a fight over the
Okay,
movie.
as a frequent attender of Comic-Con, it's not actually ever violent. Like, people are actually having nice discussions. It's not like, it's not that sort of throwback.
Well, yeah, I mean, when the weapon of choice is a
I
mechanical
know.
pencil.
But that's what I'm
obviously.
saying, that's not the norm.
Well, they didn't want to ruin their prop weapons that they made.
Can't do much damage with a foam axe.
So,
The other thing I'd say to the writers is they
good job, Nick.
they actually stuck to an arc.
Yeah, they did.
So if they can keep doing that, that is half the battle.
Yeah, the Sophia arc was not bad.
I echo this. I think they're on a very. I do think they are slightly better, and I agree that they have potential to blow it all because they have been. That's how they work. But I agree with Nick's assessment. Exactly, they're on a really good momentum, and they actually did a handful of things right last past half season. To the point that I was engaged and actually thinking to myself, wow, this has the potential to go somewhere.
Major improvements, honestly.
Major improvement.
But there was still enough problems and enough
Sure.
things to not allow that gauge to move further towards full.
Right.
I'm stuck with my gas gauge analogy. I'm running with it.
It's to get a filler.
I love it.
They accidentally going to put diesel in the tank. You know it. I know it.
Oh, no. Well, you might as well just say salt in the tank if you're going to go with that direction.
Well, no, because they're intentionally trying to fuel the tank.
Oh,
They just
okay.
don't know what nozzle to use.
No,
Oh.
I'm going to keep watching.
Oh, absolutely. There's no chance I won't keep watching because I love to come and do this and
Nick is
talk about
lying
it.
for me.
Yes.
Well, that's because he's reading your notes over your shoulder.
Well, I saw the word kitty cat.
Well, that's because that's my sort of sarcastic reference to the three, Babs, Tabby, and Kitty Cat. Because Barbara actually called her Kitty Cat.
Barbara was actually better in this half season than she's been ever.
She was marginally
Still annoying as
less
all hell.
annoying. Yes, marginally less annoying. She talked less. That was helpful.
That may be why she's not as annoying.
Well, I do like when she pwned the one person in the head, and she was like, "By the way, we're no longer working for Penguin." Like, that part was kind of fun.
And I actually thought her trying to operate some sort of black market weapon sales made some sense.
Mm-hmm.
But
There's just never a road back for Barbara Keane to become Barbara Gordon.
no. And at this point,
I don't know if I'd want that, really.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't
Nobody wants
want
it.
that at this point. But again, canon. Barbara Keane becomes Jim Gordon's wife.
That's
just
why I
wish
say
she'd
I'm
go
trying
away.
to rewire my brain back to just accepting that. At least as long as it doesn't go crazy like it did last season. I have a little bit of hope that it, because it was a little bit better, but they're right, it'll probably just get stomped on.
Oh, that was so defeated. She got frowny
I'm
face.
still gonna, yeah, I did. I'm still gonna keep watching it though, because it's still Batman stuff.
Yeah.
And I love all those characters.
that's what the writers are counting on.
I know, you
Pretty much
pranksters.
the whole making.
The funny thing is, I feel that in this day and age that we're in, you could actually do a proper live-action Batman TV show.
You could.
Yeah.
And it would have huge ratings if they just stick to canon.
Yeah.
So why aren't they doing it?
I don't know.
Warner Brothers probably won't let them do it.
That's what I was exactly going to say. I
Probably.
think there's a tension between what's on TV, and so Gotham has this, like you called it, the Elseworlds or the Other Worlds or whatever.
Elseworlds, yeah.
Because they can't use what is traditional because that character is up on the big screen right now.
And they're not even doing them right on the...
No, and their film franchise is floundering big time. Like, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, I read just recently, but...
Well, don't employ people like Zack Snyder to make your damn films. He doesn't
I
care.
Well, he doesn't care, and he's a hack. He's
Well, yeah.
terrible. The only one that was remotely good was 300, if you like all those testosterone films.
There's a reason why the animated show was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by somebody who loved the canon and cared about what they were doing. Not just making a big fiery
That's
explosion.
literally
still
the
making
most
blockbuster.
accurate thing, portrayal of Batman
That's
there
the
is.
best.
And they're still making animated movies.
And those are great.
And they're still using
We
voices.
just watched Gotham by Gaslight last night at a friend's house, and it was really enjoyable.
What is
Nice.
that?
It's
It's-
Batman vs. Jack the Ripper in 1890s.
It's set, yeah,
Weird.
like a bunch of the characters.
It's
are set-
based on the Elseworlds.
Yeah, where's it available?
You can just buy it, I think.
Yeah, we watched it on Vudu.
The open
but
market.
it's-
On what?
No,
Voodoo.
like it's like you can buy it on, like, yeah.
I don't know if it's streaming anywhere.
Gotham
It
by
just came
Gaslight.
out.
Yeah, noted.
I enjoyed it.
Has anyone watched The Killing Joke?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They messed that up
They
too.
messed
Yep.
it up
It
real
messed
bad.
it up.
That's
They-
like
they added
that's
a
one of the
10-minute
most famous stories ever.
They added a
know.
10-minute section that was stupid.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was really good.
But the
But
thing
the first half of it
the thing
will
that
highly
they
offend
added
anybody
was-
that loves the
yes.
comic books.
Yes.
The thing that they added was just so off of where it should be that it completely derails.
Right, we
anything.
need something formulaic that fits
Yes.
everybody rather than just
Well,
the
and on
target
top of
audience
that,
that we
it's
should
like
have.
out of all of Mark Hamill's performances as the Joker, this is the least energy one. I don't know if it's just his choice or if just he's been so busy.
I would vote
But-
better.
It just it fell. It should have been the best
Because he
animated movie
filmed
and it
that
fell
or
flat.
he recorded his whatever in between the 2 Star Wars films.
We've
So-
kind of missed Gotham here all of a sudden.
Well, it's still related.
Joker.
We're still
Yeah.
talking about
It's still
Batman.
Batman. It's still Batman.
So everybody's going to keep watching. You too, right, Kat?
Yes.
I think you like it. You rate it higher than everybody else.
This season I enjoyed. I mean,
Yeah.
especially
He's more engaged watch. I will honestly say
Yeah.
he's
I
more
have
engaged
fun.
watching this than a lot of the
even the
Arrowverse
things
shows.
that are there's so many little things like Victor Zaz and little in jokes and it making fun of itself, to where it's like, yeah,
It's
the plot isn't the greatest, but there's so many little likable quirks about the show.
I agree with that.
It's
It's always fun watching it. It's only when we come here and start thinking about it.
right, when you think about it, break it down and analyze it, it elicits a good amount of emotion from us, which in some ways is a testament to it.
True. That's a very nice way to say that.
Aw,
And you didn't even make a reference to
Spencer.
monkeys.
And he didn't bring up the gas thing
Only
again.
because I'm worried about offending monkeys at this point.
Aww.
No tail.
No tail. Please listen to our Flash podcast.
It's still so
Legends
funny.
of
Your
Tomorrow.
reaction was fantastic.
So you should have been last night 10 people calling a tortoise a turtle.
Tortoise is a type of turtle.
Would you recommend Gotham?
To who?
As
Only
they
the
take
people
it
that
up
already
now,
watched it. I mean, I would never, to anybody that hasn't watched it, you'd have to already be a Batman fan and already have gone through the
I don't
first
think I could tell because I have a lot of non-nerdy friends and they still because they enjoy our friendship, I think they still engage with what I really love. So sometimes they'll be like, is there a nerdy thing that you could recommend to me that I might kind of like? I don't think I could honestly recommend Gotham and
No.
be like, go right into it. I couldn't, like some of the other
I
ones.
think you're crazy.
I think at this
Yeah.
point, as far as comic book shows go, the only one I could truly recommend and say, yeah, jump right in at any point is The Flash.
Well, in the Defender series
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
Defender series. I would give that.
Or
Even then,
Smallville.
the Defender series, I'd have to be very selective about which ones I would recommend.
Some
No.
people like Luke Cage, Spencer.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking just Luke Cage.
Some people like Iron Fist. Me.
I liked Iron Fist.
What are you talking about?
Because he said he couldn't recommend.
I couldn't say as a whole go and watch all of the Defender series. I would say watch Punisher for sure. I would say Jessica Jones. The others I could give or take as far as recommending them.
Even Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
Daredevil.
I was
that's
gonna
fine.
say.
Anything else you wanted to say about Gotham season 4A, or what you hope or dread to see in season 4B?
I think a good theme for this is some people dig their own graves.
Oh, I like that. I would say if you are going to, if you somehow listened to this podcast having not watched any Gotham and decide that you might want to give it a try, watch B2. 4B2 upcoming, I think, is going to be its standout episode with the Joker Penguin stuff.
Yeah.
He just really.
But knowing
loves
the
it.
show, they'll introduce Robin before Batman.
How is that possible? There'll be a kid.
The writers will find a
There'll be a
way.
kid in green and yellow jumpers in a pushchair somewhere,
He
and that'll
was
be like,
already
"Oh, Robin."
born. We already saw an
Well,
episode
yeah,
where Grayson was born.
we did see the Flying Graysons.
We
at
saw
one
It was
Flying
the
Graysons.
first Jerome episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
He was
We had
in the same
that
circus.
entire Romeo and Juliet subplot.
They won't introduce Robin.
I was joking.
But
I wouldn't put it.
surprise if
I
they
wouldn't
did.
put it past them.
Yeah, Gotham is what the writers are making of it, which, as you can tell, if you've listened to any of our series on Gotham, it really is a crapshoot from half season to half season.
Here's how they'll introduce Robin, Kyle. They'll bring Nightwing in.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Which will be completely.
Nightwing will
Nightwing
train
comes
Bruce.
before Batman.
Please don't bring Nightwing in. That's just weird.
Oh, no, they're making a movie for him too, so he's probably off limits. Otherwise, they probably would have.
Making a Nightwing movie?
Yeah.
Did we see a Robin yet?
No, he's already
Like, is it
the second Robin's already dead in the movie universe. You see his memorial.
Who's in charge of all of this?
Yeah, they skipped over. Because in the new movies,
in Batman
he's been
versus
Batman.
Superman?
Yeah, you see his costume
Marvel
with the bullet
Studios are
holes
just
and the
doing so much
Joker's
better.
ha 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 jokes on you, Batman. So the first Robin's already Nightwing in that universe.
That's so weird.
It doesn't make any sense, and I don't like it.
But they could go backwards with Batman as well now that Affleck's going to be gone and
Yeah.
they're going to be recasting that. They could go back to
They're
a younger
they're
Batman
negotiating.
altogether.
They're negotiating with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, God.
But
To play Batman?
I think
Yeah.
they need to avoid having a
Why?
famous guy do it.
I just think they need to take a little break and just
Cleanse
not
the
push it
palate.
so hard.
They did Batman well when they did the Christian Bale set.
Mhm.
Why are you going to go backwards? Jake Gyllenhaal?
They're trying to compete with Marvel. They should probably just let
But
Marvel
they've been
have
failing this whole
They should-
time.
What they should focus on is
And
telling a
Marvel is
decent story
Yeah,
about their
you have to
character.
tell good stories about each character
That's what Marvel's
individually. Like you got to let that connect with the audience instead of just.
And then when it comes together, it is cohesive, and I
They
mean,
shouldn't have forced a Justice League so early either. They should have told each individual person in the Justice
Which
League.
is what Marvel did.
yeah, and people would have still, I don't know why they're rushing, people would have still come out in droves to see that, especially the fan base, as we keep bringing up. I'm going to go see that. I've done it with every single one of them.
Anything else you want to say about Gotham Season 4A, or what you hope or dread to see?
Are we
in
still
Season
recording?
4B, we are.
Yeah,
Was
just
that
get,
what we decided?
just
That's
get
what I
better.
decided.
Just
Gotham
get better,
is better
Gotham.
than the DC movie universe.
I think so.
I think so.
All right. Well, I don't see movies.
I mean, there's
Except-
hope in Henry
except
Cavill,
for
but he's just
Wonder
not
Woman.
given a good director
Yeah,
to
Wonder
help
Woman's
him.
the best part. Hearing nothing else, what I'd like to do at this time is
That's all we
thank Nick, Hilary, Kyle, and Spencer
You're
for joining me once again to talk about Gotham, even though it's always a roller coaster when we do. But because we're back and because we're at the end, I now have to do this end thing, which is CPU was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. Give us stars, comments, reviews. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't, what we should keep, what we should toss. That old chestnut. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or by Facebook and Twitter. Of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have several more new episodes coming down the pike, including our redos, sadly. If you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, we're everywhere. Just find us. You can search for us. We top Google searches under our name. You can subscribe at our website, our channels, or our social media accounts to stay up on new events and episodes. Until the next time, Gotham will return to air the second half of Season 4 on Fox on March 1st, 2018, as it currently airs on Thursdays. So don't miss the new episodes. You can catch up on Gotham otherwise by finding the first 3 seasons on Netflix, who really owes us some money and free subscriptions, or you can watch the most recent 5 episodes at Hulu or on the Fox Now app or Fox's website. In the meantime, our CPU Gotham panel will next reconvene to discuss Gotham following the airing of the finale of Season 4. So, until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned!
Goodbye!
Peace out.
What?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No one else said it.
Also, I would like to say chestnuts is too early in the intro.
Stay tuned!
Goodbye!
Bye.